the best university I can.
Subharti is the best.
Subharti is the best. Subharti is the best.
The Swati is the best.
Subharti is the best.
Subharti is the best.
Subharti is the best.
Subharti is best. Love you, Subharti.
Namaskar. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all on the most auspicious occasion of International Yoga Day. I'm Dr. Simmi Gurwara, Professor of English at Swami Vivekananda Subharati University, Meerut. Before I start speaking about the limitless possibilities that yoga offers, I would like to invoke the blessings of Adi Yogi, the perennial source of yoga, by reciting the Bhakti song penned by Prasoon Joshi. दूर उस आकाश की गहराइयों में, दूर उस आकाश की गहराइयों में एक नदी से बह रहे हैं आदि योगी। शून्य सन्नाटे टपकते जा रहे हैं, मौन से सब कह रहे हैं आदि योगी। योग के इस स्पर्श से अब योग में करना है तन मन, योग के इस स्पर्श से अब योग में करना है तन मन, भस्म वाली रस्म कर दो आदि योगी, योग उत्सव रंग भर दो आदि योगी। बज उठे ये मन सितारी, उतरे मुझ में आदि योगी, उतरे मुझ में आदि योगी। Om Namah Shivaya. The theme for the 8th International Yoga Day is Yoga for Humanity. People around the world have embraced yoga to stay healthy and rejuvenated, and to fight social isolation and depression during COVID-19 pandemic. Yoga is playing a significant role in the psychosocial care and rehabilitation of COVID-19 patients in quarantine and isolation. It is particularly helpful in allaying their fears and anxiety. And this is the reason why this theme has been chosen. It is so relevant, apt, and pertinent to the times that we live in today. The essence of yoga is balance. Not just balance within the body or that between the mind and the body, but also balance in the human relationship with the world. Yoga emphasizes the value of mindfulness, moderation, discipline, and perseverance. When applied to communities and societies, yoga offers a path for sustainable living. Let me just dwell a little on the virtues that we get to receive and harness through practicing yoga. Like I said, it is about mindfulness. So mindfulness here doesn't mean that you have to close your eyes and you have to sit in an isolated corner to meditate. You can be in a meditative state of mind throughout, even in the busiest of busy markets. While you're doing your day-to-day chores, you can be in a meditative state of mind. Such is the power of meditation. It is about the connect, it is about feeling the highest level of consciousness. Yoga brings moderation. We have been listening, since times immemorial that excess of everything is bad. So it is about moderation. It is about balance, because balance is the key for everything in life. And yoga brings us this. It brings balance into our lives. Discipline. Here, discipline is more about self-discipline, not the discipline which is imposed on you by others, by the societal norms. It is a self-discipline which yoga brings. And you feel enthused. You feel the gist. You feel the spirit to practice yoga. Why? Because when you practice, you feel that you have developed the small disciplines in your daily life. It is about developing your own personal philosophy. And when your personal philosophy is imbued with the small disciplines that you practice on a daily basis, nothing like it. And perseverance. It is all about consistency. You have to be consistent when you are a practitioner. It can't be so that you practice yoga today and then you forget about it in the next 4 days, and then it's once in a week kind of an affair. No, it has to be continuous. The continuity is the key. You have to practice yoga on a regular basis. So make it a regular practice. Unless and until you practice on a regular basis, it will not give you the results. And the results are far more. They are plentiful. You just can't ignore. It is just that you have to practice yoga to realize the effect as to it has, the kind of fruits and the rewards that it offers to you is inexplainable, unmentionable. The list is far too long for me to read out here in this webinar of 1 hour. When applied to communities and societies, yoga offers a path for sustainable living. When you have mindfulness, when you practice mindfulness, when you have this quality of moderation to your being, when you are self-disciplined, when you have perseverance, when you are consistent about your efforts, then of course you are moving towards sustainable living. You are not just helping yourself, you are helping the society, you're helping the people who are around you. So it is about a wholesome existence. It is about a harmonious existence that yoga brings to your lives. Yoga can be an important instrument in the collective quest of humanity for promoting sustainable lifestyle in harmony with planet Earth. In keeping with spirit, the theme for this year's Yoga Day has been chosen. So what is yoga and why do we celebrate it? Yoga is an ancient physical, mental and spiritual practice that originated in India. The word yoga derives from Sanskrit and means to join or to unite, symbolizing the union of body and consciousness. जो हमें जोड़े, साथ लाए, वही तो योग है. जो दूरियों को खत्म करे, वही तो योग है. Today, yoga is practiced in various forms around the world and continues to grow in popularity. Recognizing its universal appeal on 11 December 2014, the United Nations proclaimed 21st June as the International Day of Yoga. This day aims to raise awareness worldwide of the many benefits of practicing yoga. The draft resolution establishing the International Day of Yoga was proposed by India and endorsed by a record 175 member states. The proposal was first introduced by our Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, in his address during the opening of the 69th session of the General Assembly, in which he said, and I quote, "Yoga is an invaluable gift from our ancient tradition. Yoga embodies unity of mind and body, thought and action, a holistic approach that is valuable to our health and our well-being. Yoga is not just about exercising. It is a way to discover the sense of oneness with yourself, the world, and the nature. Unquote. The resolution notes the importance of individuals and populations making healthier choices and following lifestyle patterns that foster good health. In this regard, the World Health Organization has also urged its member states to help their citizens reduce physical inactivity, which is among the top 10 leading causes of death worldwide and a key risk factor for non-communicable diseases such as cardiovascular diseases, cancer, and diabetes. स्वामी विवेकानंद कहते थे, एक आदर्श व्यक्ति वह है जो नितांत निर्जन में भी क्रियाशील रहता है और अत्यधिक गतिशीलता में भी संपूर्ण शांति का अनुभव करता है. This is possible because of the fact that yoga is more than a physical activity. Usually we have this conception in our minds because of the ignorance around that it is just a weight reducing exercise, like any other exercise. You do gymming or you do aerobics, you can be into a number of exercises for your weight reduction. But yoga is much, much more than that. It's a way of life. Your entire approach towards life changes if you practice yoga. So it is much more. You need to know the fact that yoga is a complete therapy. A complete therapy. It is comprehensive, it is all-inclusive. It touches upon every aspect of your being at all planes, be it physical, mental, emotional, intellectual, or spiritual. In the words of one of its most famous practitioners, the late BKS Iyengar, yoga cultivates the ways of maintaining a balanced attitude in day-to-day life and endows skill in the performance of one's actions. How true. If there is balance, there is everything. The excess, as we all know, is detrimental. योग का अर्थ ही है समत्वम योग उच्यते, अर्थात अनुकूलता, प्रतिकूलता, सफलता, असफलता, सुख, संकट, हर परिस्थिति में समान रहने, अडिग रहने का नाम ही योग है. Although yoga's origin dates back to India some 5,000 years back, today it is practiced in many forms that emphasize the skill we can all call upon in our busy lives. Calm breathing, postural alignment, core strength, and relaxation. Yoga boosts immune system of the body. You must include pranayama in your daily life as it strengthens the respiratory system. It is more relevant in the current times as it is the respiratory system of the body that is most adversely affected by the COVID-19 virus. We have all seen the drastic and the deadly effects that the virus had on our physical selves. We have seen people falling victim to this disaster and it has been horrendous. The last more than 2.5 years now, we all know how it all spent, and we have seen also the power of yoga because the people who practiced yoga could stay positive. The people who practiced yoga could see the brighter side of life and even try to make the most of the times that they had to, spend in isolation. So yoga helped all of us like anything. So it is just into believing the fact that yes, it is there and it is for us to practice, because unless and until you practice and you go the yoga way, you will not be able to realize the immense potential that it has to transform our lives. Besides, International Yoga Day is a day of solidarity. This is the day of universal brotherhood. Yoga has emerged as a force of unity. It deepens the bonds of humanity as it does not discriminate. And this is the reason why today we are celebrating the 8th International Yoga Day, and yoga is being performed all over the world. Such is the power of yoga. It connects everybody. It connects everybody. It's a unifying force. This is the reason why we say that it brings, solidarity, and it brings unity and brings togetherness, because unless and until you are connected with your own self, how can you be expected to connect with the other person? It is about your connection with your own being first that drives your connection with the people around you. And yoga gives you that. It keeps you centered. It keeps you balanced. And then you are ready, you are prepared for your relationships with the external world. And it works wonderfully. It goes beyond race, color, gender, faith, and nations. Anybody can embrace yoga. Well, that's the beauty of it. You don't have to have, a certain level of eligibility or qualification to be a yoga practitioner. Anybody, anywhere can practice yoga. Such is the charm and such is the beauty of yoga. It is accessible to all. It is affordable to all. If we fine-tune our chords of health and hope, the day is not far away when world will witness the success of healthy and happy humanity. Well, you have to keep the hope alive. Usually, I have seen, like in my personal experiences with the people, that they start practicing yoga, say for a month or so, and then they withdraw. Why? Because they feel that the results are not coming. Well, I wanted to reduce, certain kgs, and it does not happen. So I'm disinterested now. I've lost my faith, and I don't want to. And I look around and start, I can do, and I can, take up some other form of exercise so that I can lose. It's not a matter of losing your weight alone. It is about so much more. The only thing is that you have to keep the faith alive. You have to keep the hope alive, because if you're hopeful, only then you will be in a state of mind to practice yoga on a regular basis. Just be at it. Just be at it. Just be a practitioner to see as to what is there for yoga to offer. It will give you immensely. Trust my word, it will give you much more than you expect. Yoga can definitely help us make this happen. Of course, humanity will be benefited, and humanity has been, benefiting by practicing yoga, and this is the reason why we are celebrating this International Day today. International Yoga Day also aims to inculcate a habit of meditation for peace of mind and self-awareness, which is necessary to survive in a stressful environment. These days, you talk to the school goers and they have this, word stress, which they like repeat, and which they try to flaunt as much as they can, that the life is very stressful. I have my assignments, I have my sessionals, I have my exams coming, and I'm so stressed. I have to meet the deadlines. You meet the professionals, working professionals especially. Working professionals are also very stressful. Why? Because there is so much to be done, and the time is limited, and then the pressure is there, the work pressure is there, the superiors are there to asking you for reports, and then you have to submit the reports on time, you have to complete the assignments and the projects on time. There is so much to be done. There is so much to be done. But why is it important? Why is it necessary for us to feel stressful, even if the work pressure is there? Work pressure doesn't mean that you have to feel stressed about the work. It has to be a joyous activity. You need to enjoy the work that you have at hand. That is the beauty of life. You will not be able to give the bestest of best results unless and until you feel the joy of doing. So the happiness lies in feeling joyous about what you have at hand rather than feeling strained, rather than feeling exerted and saying that I'm stressed and I'm not in a position to give, not in a position to deliver the goods. How will you be in a position to deliver the goods when you are not happy about the work that you are doing? If it is a pressure to you, then you can imagine you always try to, shrug it off. So don't feel, love your work, and this love has to come from within. And yoga teaches us this, you become a yoga practitioner and it teaches you this immense potential of loving, the things that you do. Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore said, "The meaning of ourself is not to be found in its separateness from God and others, but in the ceaseless realization of yoga of union." The mantra of Vasudev Kutumbakam, which India has followed since times immemorial, is now finding global acceptance. We are praying for each other's well-being. Yoga gives us a happier way of life. As our Prime Minister says, योग हमें स्ट्रेस से स्ट्रेंथ और नेगेटिविटी से क्रिएटिविटी का रास्ता दिखाता है। योग हमें अवसाद से उमंग और प्रमाद से प्रसाद तक ले जाता है। How true. The best thing about practicing yoga is that it takes away the stress from your minds. And it makes you more creative. You become more constructive in your thoughts and in your actions. The World Health Organization has stressed the benefits of yoga from the earliest days of the COVID crisis, recommending the practice as a way to look after physical and mental well-being. Global health is a long-term objective, it says. And health no longer applies to the condition of not being sick. If you're not sick, if you're not suffering from any of the illnesses, doesn't mean you are healthy. For a healthy lifestyle, yoga is uppermost. Just go for it and see it, how it changes your life for good. Sadhguru, the founder of Isha Foundation, said, "It is most important that we as human beings function at our best. You cannot afford to create a crisis within you. Yogic practices have the power to liberate people from this mindset and enhance the immune system. It is very important that we stay alive and stay physically, mentally healthy so that the humanity gets back on track as soon as possible." And we all agree. Yoga is a health assurance on zero budget. Yoga is not about what one will get, it is about what one can give up. So are you ready to make the sacrifices? What is sacrifice number one? That you have to get up early in the morning. That is sacrifice number one. Because unless and until you get up early in the morning, then just see the joy of getting up early in the morning before you start practicing yoga. It's so beautiful out there. It is about what one can give up. Are you ready to give up? Give up what? your procrastination. Don't procrastinate. Don't procrastinate. And the moment you stop doing that, you automatically, start developing the belief system that yes, there is something called yoga. If I practice yoga, then definitely I'm going to, transform myself into something bigger and better and more beautiful. And this beauty lies within. You have to see it, you have to experience it. It comes with time. You just have to be at it, as I said before. Yoga is a philosophy of discipline and meditation that transforms the spirit and makes the individual a better person in knowledge and devotion. As they say, Yukta ahar viharasya, Yukta cheshtasya karmasu, Yukta swapra vabodhasya yogo bhavati dukha. अर्थात सही खान पान, सही ढंग से खेल कूद, सोने जागने की सही आदतें और अपने कर्म को सही ढंग से करना ही योग है। गीता में भगवान कृष्ण ने योग की व्याख्या करते हुए लिखा है, योग है कर्मसु कौशलम, अर्थात कर्म की कुशलता ही योग है। कर्म की कुशलता ही योग है। This is what it teaches you. You are happy from within, you are joyous, you're feeling, gratified, and now whatever you do, whatever task you have in hand, you try to give your 100% to that. It is feeling, this oneness that you feel with yourself gets translated into every other thing that you take up. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres' message for the International Day of Yoga is, the International Day of Yoga celebrates the restorative healing and inner peace provided by this ancient practice. The world beset by disaster and division, yoga's values of mindfulness, balance, moderation, and discipline are essential as we seek out a new relationship with one another and with our planet. On this important day, let us be inspired by this timeless practice and its values. This practice is timeless. The rishis and the munis in the yesteryears were strong, were healthy, were far-sighted. They had the insights, they had the vision, and they had the power to fulfill that vision. And yoga had a very big role to play in their lives. This we all know. And the good thing is that now in the modern times, we are acknowledging the power of yoga because of the fact that we have seen how much it can change us, how much, and I mean, at times the changes are so drastic that it gets very difficult even for you to realize and acknowledge that something like this can also happen, because the potential that lies within us is immense. But it happens that we fail to realize as to how much we can achieve. There is no limit, there is no extent to your achievements, your accomplishments. They will come in galore. The only thing is that you have to stay alive, and yoga helps us to stay alive. Yoga helps us to stay thoughtful. Yoga helps us to stay positive, healthy, and harmonious. If practiced with awareness, the potential for yoga to guide us toward inner peace is profound. As the great yoga master B.K.S. Iyengar has said, yoga is a means and an end. Like a flower bud, human life has the potential to blossom fully. Blossoming of human potential to fullness is yoga. In addition, yoga brings about a positive outlook to life and reduces hostility, especially in the times that we live in. We have seen in the past, 2 years, that how COVID-19, when the pandemic struck, how much stress we felt. and how much depressed we felt when there were the times of lockdowns and we were all, locked inside our homes, and we were not, seeing any ray of hope coming our way. And it was, the darkest times that the humanity has suffered. And there was so much of uncertainty because of the viruses and the mutations, that we were seeing and getting to know from different sources, that we felt, fearful all the time. There was this feeling of fear. There was this feeling of, being entrapped in a situation which allowed no easy way out. But in those difficult times also, there were people who refused to fall victim to the circumstances. They stayed positive. And yoga was recommended, not just by the yoga gurus and the rishis, it was recommended by the doctors, the medical fraternity. They recommended yoga and practicing pranayama, on a daily basis to boost the immune system. Because as we all saw that how drastically it affected our physical, and mental and emotional health. And somewhere, at some other level, we all were affected, But yoga helped us. And we could all read in the newspapers, the news pieces, that how a certain somebody, practiced yoga, and how a certain somebody, followed a yogic diet and a yogic routine, and how she recovered, from the illness. The same illness which engulfed, the families, at a stretch, could not reach and could not touch and could not harm the people who kept the faith alive. So yoga and the practice of yoga, helped us in doing that. And this is something which is, there are innumerable stories, we all know that. And the theme for this 8th International Yoga Day is Yoga for Humanity, and humanity could be saved from this pandemic because of, to a very large extent, I would say, because of the yoga, because it was recommended, as I said already, by the doctors, and the people, the commoners who believed endlessly in the values and the virtues that yoga comes up with. So we all lived with that, and we all have seen that. These are lived experiences. We don't have to, find any testimony to this, because we have lived them. In addition, yoga brings about a positive outlook to life and reduces hostility. When yoga is done on a regular basis, many hormones in the neurological system are normalized. This helps you become more positive, and you tend to see life in a more refreshed and cheerful light as a result. Anger is substantially managed when yoga is practiced on a daily basis. The people who practice yoga, it is very difficult to make them angry. They don't feel the surge of anger, coming. Why? Because there is this effect of calmness on your mind and your body and your soul, that you are emotionally very, very stable. You feel emotionally stable, you feel emotionally strengthened, and the feeling of, resentment, the feeling of frustration, it just can't sit in. It can't sit in. Why? Because you are full of positivity. You see the brighter side of life. You see the brighter side of things, come what may. The circumstances will change. The situations will change. But this positivity stays. And this is what yoga does. It gives you positivity. It gives you a ray of hope, that you start seeing and welcoming the positivity all around. The nervous system is calm through breathing and meditation. You breathe in and you breathe out. The moment you feel stressful, you feel that there is something, which is affecting you adversely, and you are unable to give or perform to your fullest, just sit back, relax, Breathe in, breathe out, and feel the difference. Pranayam does, magic. It works wonders on your body, on your spirit, on your emotions. Your emotions are in check. Your body is, uh, strengthened to a level where you feel that you are able to achieve, 10 times more than otherwise what you were, when you were not practicing yoga. And intellectually also, you feel that there is so much for you to know and for so much for you to assimilate and, accommodate into your life. And it becomes, all this seems so easy. The things which were so difficult, to lay your hands on, they now become, after practicing yoga, so easy and so reachable. So this is the magic that yoga brings into our lives, and this is something to be cherished, and this is something to be lived for. It reduces wrath and animosity, reduces aggression, translates to lower blood pressure. This automatically promotes a stress-free and healthier lifestyle. Yoga as a discipline. It's a discipline. It's a field of study. It teaches a key concept of leading a better life, and that is self-control. What could be better than self-control? Students who practice yoga have better control over their emotions and impulses, and therefore are pragmatic and take meaningful decisions in life. The times that we live in, we live in an information age, it's a knowledge society that we live in today. There are distractions all around, and as a student, because either you are you're studying in a school, or you are studying in a college or a university, or you're a student of life, because in some or the other way we all are the students of life. So when you are a student, then it is very natural to feel the pressure coming from all the directions, because you have this pressure to perform, and especially when you have the set prescribed things, which you have to do and complete, and then submit on time. Then the pressure is there, the pressure to perform is there, from the parent side also, from the teacher side also, from the society side also, and because there is peer pressure also. So pressure is coming from all the corners, and then the students usually have this feeling of withdrawing, and this feeling of being trapped in kind of a situation which is out of control altogether. So if we make our students practice yoga, because yogic science is a complete science. It's a complete science. It helps you. It helps you to cope. You learn the coping skills. They come to you naturally. And you start seeing the brighter side of life. You feel, positive about the things which had plagued your mind otherwise for so long. Now, because you start practicing yoga, it helps you immensely. So if you're a student, either of any course or a student of life, you need to practice yoga, and you need to become a practitioner, because unless and until you immerse yourself and you delve deep into yogic practices, you will not be able to know, because after all, we all know that unless and until you sow, you will not be able to reap. So be a planter. If you are practicing yoga, then you are being a planter. You're being a planter. Keep on planting, keep on sowing, and I'm dead sure that you will be able to reap the dividends, rich dividends, in terms of good health, in terms of more positivity, in terms of more harmony in your relationships, because when you are happy with your own self, you're also happy with the people around you. Then you don't complain, right? And this grumpiness which comes in, because of the imperfections that we see all around in the people, and we say, oh my God, it's very difficult to work with the people because she is not up to the mark, or the organizational structure is such where I'm not able to perform. You start stop blaming the situations and the people and the structures, and you take the ownership. So yoga teaches you one very important lesson, and that is taking the ownership. You take the onus and you say that yes, the onus lies here. The onus lies here. It is with me. I have to be responsible. I take charge of my life, and I am responsible for all my successes and all my failures. And even the failures are only the stepping stones to successes. So you don't have to be bothered even about that. So what is success and what is failure? When you are happy, when you're calm, and when you are happy, your mind is feeling the calmness. When your heart is so full of love and joy, then everything is worth living. Everything is worth, an experience in life. So students who practice yoga, of course, they have, a lot to gain from, and I would definitely advise on this very day of International Yoga Day that our students, wherever you are, in whichever standard you are, whatever you're studying, the courses, please start practicing yoga and make it a habit, a habit which is permanently ingrained into your systems. Don't let it go. Just feel the power and the magic of yoga, and you have to believe in it. Trust me, it will help you immensely. It will help you immensely. Yoga means to be able to reconstruct our lives fully. This means to be able to feel complete joy in whatever one is doing without the involvement of ego or anger. To feel selfless love towards people and be dedicated to the goals and the objectives of life. Yoga means to be able to reconstruct our lives. There cannot be a moment where you feel that I'm done and this is it. Because there is always an opportunity, a chance for you to rebuild yourself. Our lives can be rebuilt. Our dreams can be expanded, they can be more expensive. Our horizons also can be more broadening, we can broaden our horizons also. What we can't do with positivity, with, the strength of our minds, with the strength of our emotions, what is there in this world under the sun that cannot be achieved? The only thing is that we have to stay positive. And with positivity comes everything that you wish for, everything that you long for, everything that you desire in life. Yoga is the means. As I said earlier, it is said by, B.K.S. Iyengar that it is the means and it is also the end. But you have to give up something. What are you to give up? You are to give up your procrastination. You have to give up, your laziness. You have to give up your negativity. Leave all that. Leave all that behind and just immerse yourself in yoga and try to reap the benefits that it has to offer, because what it offers is, your platter will be full and you will not be able to know as to, you will be at a loss for pick and choose, because there is so much that it has to offer that you will be so full. So this feeling of fullness would be there, and you will feel the joy and the bliss that it brings forth in your lives. on this 8th International Yoga Day, I am especially, because I'm a professor of English, as I said, and I'm very concerned when I see the students that they have, their own afflictions, and they have their own problems, and they have their, queries that they have as to how to improve the focus in towards their studies, because focus is something that is, the first casualty when you have, and when you're surrounded with so many distractions around. So yoga, my dear students, will bring you the focus. It will keep you centered. It appears so that, like for example, if I take the example of pranayama, breathing in and then breathing out. And how can this, like exercises like Bhastrika or Kapalbhati and Anulom Vilom, how can it help, how can it help and how can it enhance the focus? This is the basic question, and I've seen, the students, they have so many doubts and so many confusions and so many queries as to how can pranayama bring focus into our lives, and how can, by practicing these breathing exercises, we would be in a position to, accomplish more and to focus more. So the answer lies in practicing yoga. Unless and until you practice, until you get into it, you will not be able to realize, and you will not be able to see as to how much it can, offer you. So my advice to you is that you must practice yoga. Be a yoga enthusiast. Be a yoga enthusiast and make yoga an inseparable part of your life. It will bring you focus. It will make you wiser. You'll be able to take your decisions, more wisely, right? And all the impulses, this rashness in the decision that comes in, and you feel like, there's a certain age because of the hormonal changes also, and you want to take the decisions on, which are very rash, and then you repent about the, decisions that you take. So these kind of situations, very ungainly situations, you will not be falling into such ungainly situations. You will be making your life, much more meaningful, and at a scale where you will be able to perform something. You'll be able to make your parents happy because of your performance, your teachers happy, and the organization and the academic institution where you're studying, even that organization will also be proud of you, because of the fact that you have achieved, and win the laurels, and you have made everybody proud. So as a student, if you want to achieve and take your wagon and to the stars, then it is very important that you practice yoga with all your heart. The important thing is to believe. The belief system, the belief system has to be strong. This belief system has to be strong. You have to feel that, yes, this is something, this is the kind of a therapy which is going to help me. Because when we are going for gymming, when we are going for other forms of exercises, then there are other attractions to it. But here, yoga is taking you away from all the external distractions, and it is keeping you focused, it is keeping you centered, so that now you are in oneness with your own self. And how beautiful is this? Because now you get to know about your weaknesses and your strengths. Now, in almost all the interviews, be at any level, this question is perennially asked as to what are your strengths and weaknesses, and the candidate, answers in his own way the strengths and the weaknesses. But when you practice yoga, when you are a yoga practitioner, then you know actually where the strengths lie and where the weaknesses lie, and those weaknesses also then are very conveniently and very easily and very smoothly are, they're ironed out, and you then transform all those weaknesses into your strengths. So this is how it works on your mind, and you stay positive. And any kind of negativity is then very difficult, to touch you, because we are living in a world where things, and situations and circumstances filled with negativity can, crop up any time, and then we have to be ready to face these circumstances and situations. Unless and until we are ready, unless and until we are prepared, how will we be facing, because the times are such, you don't know what is going to happen next, you don't know. And these days, I mean, this kind of a feeling, this uncertain feeling that I'm talking about has, become more pronounced in the last, 2 years. Earlier it wasn't so, but now it has become more pronounced. Why? Because we have seen it happening in our lives. We have seen how humanity has suffered, and the lessons have been learned, of course. The lessons have been learned, and I'm sure that on this 8th International Yoga Day, we will pledge to practice yoga and be yoga enthusiasts, because the answers to so many problems of our lives will be given to us, and we will be in a very stronger and surer footing to face the challenges, because when you are ready, then no matter how big the challenge is, you have the answer. No matter how big the problem is, you have the solution. And no matter how big the negative scenario is, you have that spirit of positivity to give an answer to all that. And with these words, I once again wish you all a very happy, healthy, and harmonious 8th International Yoga Day 2022. Namaskar.